Hi, I'm so happy you've joined me for another video looking at reading a book with me. So let's get to it. The Tale of Two Bad Mice by Beatrix Potter. This is book number 5, The Tale of Two Bad Mice, for WMLW, The Little Girl Who Had the Doll's House. And obviously, Beatrix Potter, she is the illustrator of this book, and you can see the picture of the little mouse in the middle of the screen. And you have one mouse, and you will have multiple mice. So if it's plural, we say mice. It's an irregular noun. We don't just put an S on it like mouses or houses. We don't say that, we say mice. Once upon a time, there was a very beautiful doll's house. It was red brick with white windows, and it had real muslin curtains, and a front door, and a chimney. It belonged to two dolls called Lucinda and Jane. At least it belonged to Lucinda, but she never ordered meals. Jane was the cook, but she never did any cooking because the dinner had been bought ready made in a box full of shavings. And shavings is a thin, thin strip cut off the surface of something. So you can have wood shavings if you own woodwork. Or sometimes men, they shave their face from hair as well. So they cut a very fine layer of hair from the top of their skin, a shaving. There were 2 red lobsters and a ham, a fish, a pudding, and some pears and oranges. They would not come off the plate, but they were extremely beautiful. One morning, Lucinda and Jane had gone out for a drive in the doll's perambulator. There was no one in the nursery, and it was very quiet. Presently, there was a little scuffling, scratching noise in the corner near the fireplace, where there was a hole under the skirting board. Tom Thumb put out his head for a moment and then popped it in again. Tom Thumb was a mouse. And a perambulator is another word for a pram. It's an older term for pram. It's where we put babies, or if you have a doll, you put it in and you move around in it as well. It's how you transport babies in a pram, and they have wheels on the bottom. And the word thumb, well, we have 2 thumbs where we do high, like thumbs up like this, and we have 8 fingers as well. So a thumb is this, and our fingers are here. A minute after, Hunca Munca, his wife, put her head out too, and when she saw there was no one in the nursery, she ventured out on the oilcloth under the coal box. To venture is doing something, a risky or daring journey is a venture. And sometimes in business, they might say, oh, I've done a venture, because it's not 100% safe or certain. The doll's house stood at the other side of the fireplace. Tom Thumb and Hunca Munca went cautiously across the hearthrug. They pushed the front door. It was not so fast. And you can see that picture, beautiful picture of Hunca Munca and Tom Thumb traveling towards that dollhouse and being really careful as well and cautious. Tom Thumb and Hunca Munca went upstairs and peeped into the dining room. Then they squeaked with joy. Such a lovely dinner was laid out upon the table. There were tin spoons and lead knives and forks and 2 dolly chairs, all so convenient. And convenient means something that fits well with someone's needs or plans, or it gives us easy access to. So something can be conveniently close to us. Tom Thumb set to work at once to carve the ham. It was a beautiful, shiny yellow streaked with red. The knife crumbled up and hurt him. He put his finger in his mouth. It is not boiled enough. It is hard. You have a try, Hunca Munca. And what is the reason you think that Tom Thumb can't cut into the ham? Oh, yes, because it's not real. It's just for show. Hunca Munca stood up in her chair and chopped at the ham with another lead knife. It's as hard as the hams at the cheesemonger's, said Hunca Munca. The ham broke off the plate with a jerk and rolled under the table. Let it alone, said Tom Thumb. Give me some fish, Hunca Munca. Hunca Munca tried every tin spoon in turn. The fish was glued to the dish. Then Tom Thumb lost his temper. He put the ham in the middle of the floor and hit it with the tongs and with the shovel. Bang, bang, smash, smash. The ham flew all into pieces, for underneath the shiny paint it was made of nothing but plaster. And you can see the fish glued to the plate, and the ham is now littered on the floor in plaster. It's no longer got its original shape. Then there was no end to the rage and disappointment of Tom Thumb and Hunca Munca. They broke up the pudding, the lobsters, the pears, and the oranges. As the fish would not come off the plate, they put it into the red hot, crinkly paper fire in the kitchen, but it would not burn either. And a rage is an extreme anger. So it's more than just being angry, it's like being furious. Tom Thumb went up to the kitchen chimney and looked out at the top. There was no soot. And soot is this black powdery substance you get when you burn wood as well. In a fireplace, you have soot. While Tom Thumb was up the chimney, Hunca Munca had another disappointment. She found some tiny canisters upon the dresser, labelled rice, coffee, sago, but when she turned them upside down, there was nothing inside except red and blue beads. Sago is an edible starch. And a bead is a small piece of glass or stone or material, and you might use it to make a necklace, or it can be sewn into fabric as well. Then those mice set to work to do all the mischief they could, especially Tom Thumb. He took Jane's clothes out of the chest of drawers in her bedroom and he threw them out of the top floor window. But Hunca Munca had a frugal mind. After pulling half the feathers out of Lucinda's bolster, she remembered that she herself was in want of a feather bed. Mischief means trouble. So if you're causing mischief, it means you're causing trouble. And to be frugal means to be smart with money, to be careful and not to be overspending, to be frugal. With Tom Thumb's assistance, she carried the bolster downstairs and across the hearthrug. It was difficult to squeeze the bolster into the mouse hole, but they managed it somehow. And assistance means help. So with Tom Thumb's help, and a bolster is, well, you can see it in the picture, it's a long, thick pillow. So that's a bolster. Bolster can also mean, has other definitions. It could also mean support or strengthen, to bolster something, up or to bolster a person. Then Hunca Munca went back and fetched a chair, a bookcase, a birdcage, and several small odds and ends. The bookcase and the birdcage refused to go into the mouse hole. Hunca Munca left them behind the coal box and went to fetch a cradle. A cradle is a baby's bed or a cot, and there's that song, Rock-a-bye cradle on the treetop, and it's about a baby rocking back and forth in their cot. Hunca Munca was just returning with another chair when suddenly there was a noise of talking outside upon the landing. The mice rushed back to their hole and the dolls came into the nursery. What a sight met the eyes of Jane and Lucinda! Lucinda sat upon the upset kitchen stove and stared, and Jane leaned against the kitchen dresser and smiled, but neither of them made any remark. A remark is a comment, so neither of them said anything. The bookcase and the birdcage were rescued from under the coal box, but Hunca Munca had got the cradle and some of Lucinda's clothes. She also had some useful pots and pans and several other things. The little girl that the doll's house belonged to said, "I will get a doll dressed like a policeman." But the nurse said, I will set up a mouse trap. How many mice can you see in this picture? I can see six mice, four baby or children mice, and two adults, Tom Thumb and Hunca Munca. So, that is the story of the two bad mice, but they were not so very, very naughty after all, because Tom Thumb paid for everything he broke. He found a crooked sixpence under the hearthrug, and upon Christmas Eve, he and Hunca Munca stuffed it into one of the stockings of Lucinda and Jane. And very early every morning, before anybody is awake, Hunca Munca comes with her dustpan and her broom to sweep the Dolly's house. The end.